There we go. We're on live. Here we go with the Fire Hose live show, where we're just rolling you down with this fire hose of value. And today we've got on Simon Lovell, owner of Fitpreneurs. And this is our second interview with him. And I'll tell you what, the first one was off the chain. So you get opportunity, just go ahead and scroll down the page and check out that first interview that we had. But today we're going to talk about personal branding and just a little bit about Simon Lovell is that he's the owner of Fitpreneurs. And he actually is a contributor and a speaker and an author, and as well for Forbes.com, which is tremendous. So make sure you go ahead and check that out. He also has a podcast too, that you should check out. And then also, what's really powerful is because I think it's so powerful to learn from people that have been not only in the trenches, but then also too that have been through things, right? And so you can learn from them. And he has a boatload of wisdom. As far as inside of the fit game, as far as being a fit pro, he actually was $50K in debt. He was able to turn that around, and from there, turn a company from 0 to $1 million in 12 months. So we're about to get Simon on. See here. Simon, what's up?
What up?
Second interview, man. I'll tell you what, I'm excited to have your time.
Well, you're welcome. I decided to come outside today because it's a nice day.
Yeah, it's looking nice out there, man. You're in Southern California?
I'm in Carmel Valley in San Diego.
Oh, man, that is beautiful. That is beautiful. So I'm only about 30, 45 minutes away from you.
Oh, really? We have to swing by.
Absolutely. That would be awesome. So, yeah, man, let's just go ahead and jump right into this. And I know that the topic is personal branding.
Yeah.
And making maximum impact when it comes to that. But the first question I want to ask is kind of a little off topic is, what would you say to yourself 10 years ago? What message would you say to yourself 10 years ago? Just with all the wisdom you have now.
10 years ago. Well, where was it then? I was 38, so I was 28. Wow. Well, at that time, I was taking loads of drugs and, gambling. And I guess I would just give myself a slap. I probably would be like, hey, dude, what the hell are you doing to kind of speed up my progress a little bit more? I think the self-awareness is so key. So I would have somehow installed some self-awareness for me to know, hey, come on, dude, this is what you should be really doing with your life. You think you're helping people, but you got to be helping yourself a little bit more in order to really help people, which I think is key. I think a lot of people go into the industry and they say, well, I want to help people, but truly we have to go deep within ourselves and really start to focus on this to get to really truly help people. It's very easy to have a persona on someone that you are and actually have this mask on, than actually be really truly who you are. And I don't know if I shared the quote with you last time, which is from Jim Carrey, which is, depressed is the need for deep rest from the character that we've been playing in the world. And I think that it's so important that we really tap into ourselves to maximize our impact.
Man, that's powerful. So true. So true, is being able to tap inside yourself and get that deep impact and to be able to give back to people. Another question I was really thinking about is that if you had another profession that you wanted to do, what would that be? What would you attempt if there was another profession?
TV, because I love being in front of the camera and I love entertaining, and I kind of turn into almost like a different person when the camera's on, and I really just enjoy that creativity. I'm a super creator, so for me, I love a couple of my skill sets are being able to bring things to life that are in my head and make them really good and badass. And so another one is getting people to move into action. I'm very good at someone said to me yesterday, I asked them what was a great question to ask someone else is what do you think some of my unique abilities are? And someone asked that of me, and she said, sniffing bullshit. So I'm very intuitive, and I think that, anything where I can be creative, where I'm able to use my intuition and be able to be in front of camera, and really just help people. And that's why I just launched my my new personal brand, and why I wanted to talk about the importance of personal branding today.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And let's jump right into that. Describe like the process behind personal branding, that whole process.
So I've just relaunched my personal brand, which is simonlovell.com, and I've got this Simon Lovell show, which is new, and really the intent around that is to really, share my knowledge outside of this industry, because I get so many questions, and I've helped so many people kind of on the side with breaking through my pains and my struggles, that I really wanted to start starting to reach a wider audience. And so the first place to start with a personal brand is like, what's the intent behind it? What's the intent? Why are you doing what you're doing? And then it's definitely a process. You can't just slap up a website and expect to have a strong personal brand. And I want to talk about this concept of like strong, a Ferrari standard versus mediocre. And I think it's very important. This is one of the critical, biggest mistakes I see a lot of people in the industry making, which is they see something that they feel is high quality, but it's not high quality. And that's not through their own fault. It's but the lens that they have on is quality. Does that make sense? So if you're not a creator, and you're not someone who has worked on like national magazines or has like a design like style, like you'll see something and think it's good, and you'll put something out which is mediocre. So it's very important to have that someone that can overlook that, to say that, what, this is top quality. This is like, it's got the lines, it represents you, it's in alignment with you. And the way that I market is that, and the way I've grown my business is to look at what everyone's doing and make sure that I improve upon it. So a big process of me building my personal brand was actually looking at other people out there and going like, how do I make it better? Because I don't want to release something which is substandard, I never copy. I'll never copy, but I definitely will look at what I like and take parts of that and then make it my own, but also being a creator, I have to create my own like stuff. So building a personal brand is around intent. It's around quality. It's around putting together the right pieces. And that's in any business, right? You can't put together like different jigsaw puzzles, because the picture that comes out is going to be like fucked up. Right. So you have to make sure that when you're piecing together the logo, I hate the word logo, the brand, right? The brand, personal brand, not personal logo. When you're putting together a brand, you have to have the right branding on the logo. You have to have the right images. You have to have the right feel. And it has to have like this core going down the middle of it, and that's the message, what are you trying to convey? And more and more, we look at the Facebook changes that have happened recently, and we look at everything that's shifting, and it's moving towards storytelling. It's about, I've been working recently with the founder at TED San Diego, and you look at, do you know the average talk for a TED? Now, while they'll give 18 minutes, have a guess at how long the average TED talk is. So it's 18 minutes is what your cap is. Now, people go over it, but what do you think is the average number?
25 minutes.
Well, if the cap is 18.
Oh, the cap's 18.
The cap's 18.
Yeah.
It's got to be
so
like.
I would say 14 minutes.
12 minutes. The average TED talk is 12 minutes, and they encourage them to be shorter. So everything is getting like storytelling, more concise, and nowadays, especially with video and all of this happening, you can't just do video. You've got to do it well. You've got to start to go in deeper. And here's what I'm going to say to everyone watching. If you can't, something that I'm great at is putting out people's stories. I spent time this morning before coming on here, and I had someone from a very well-known gym in San Diego come and chat to me, and I was extracting his story that even he couldn't see, and he didn't realize some of those nuances. And so if you're not willing to go deep in yourself, in your own personal journey, and delve out that crap and deal with all that shit, you can't tap into the depths of your story that are going to connect with people at that high level. You can always do surface level bullshit, but people can sniff that a mile off. So I think that also the secrets of a personal brand is like how willing you're deep to go, because you can put all the fancy like logos on, and it all can look like the shit, and you can be like doing the best photo shoot, but when people go there, there's no depth. they're not going to come back.
Mm. That's huge. What would you say is the most common reason for people failing when it comes to personal branding and just giving up?
Lack of consistency. They want an instant breakthrough. They want it to, like, you know, suddenly they become rich from putting a website up after a few weeks, and so they don't understand that in marketing it's about testing things. Yes, you have to model things, but you got to try your own stuff and find your own groove, and then suddenly things will start to pick up. Because here's why: people respect those that are consistent, because they know that you'll be staying around and you're not a one shot wonder. And there's something subconscious that happens when you're always on the radar. And if you're not always on the radar and you're not always front of mind, then someone's going to go and invest in someone that's always front of mind. But also with front of mind, there's also depth of mind.
And talking about that, because going back on what you were saying a little bit before about Facebook, right? How it's starting to shift and how it's starting to change. And I mean, it's shifting and changing on a daily basis since it started back in the early 2000s. What would you say as far as like with personal branding? You were talking about the storytelling. What would that storytelling look like as far as, you know, your posts? I know you said like a video, a very professional video up there. What else would it be? Would it be blogging? What else would what else would it
so like? That's a great question. So omnipresence, which is across all channels, you know, and having the brand consistent. If you go to my simonlovell.com, you go to iTunes, the Simon Lovell Show. If you go to SoundCloud /Simon Lovell Show, if you go to YouTube, Simon Lovell Official, and you go to Twitter, and you go to any of these channels now, which I'm just starting to build, you'll see that there's consistency across the brand. So it's not just consistency with content; it's consistency across the brand too. You know. And you see with my brand, like there's certain color themes, and there's a theme, and it's kind of like a white theme, and it's like a quirky, and it's like keeping that consistency.
That's huge. That's huge. And so for you, like, I know you've been able to make that shift. Can you talk a little bit more about that shift? And really, I mean, it's amazing to me, right? From going from $0, right, in 12 months, having $1 million business. That is just like it's amazing.
Well, I want to correct that, because it was 18 months, but it's by the by a little bit.
Yeah,
probably my mistake actually, but and it wasn't.
Well, 6 months. Hey, that's still huge.
So yeah, that was about consistency. You know, it was about hard work, having the right business model, and mentally. This is the key out of all of it. It was about mentally being like strong enough to deal with the shit, you know. If you've got external factors going on, if you're not living in the right place, if you've got this toxic relationship, you've got drama going on, like you can't yourself and be driven. And you've also got to be driven by something. And if you're just comfortable and you're happy with what you're making, and like I had this clear vision of where I wanted to be, and you can't get momentum and you can't catapult somewhere if you don't have your why and your dream and the things that you're shooting for. It's very important that entrepreneurs reestablish where they're going. So absolutely. And then what would you say to gym owners, just in general, when it comes to personal branding, getting out there, you know, obviously being creative, especially here in 2018? What does that look like to really get over to the next level? Well, it's about the long-term play. You know, you've got to look at, like, the personal brand is going to support whatever businesses they want to create in the future. And so if they've only got a business which is a studio and you're not building your personal brand, what happens if for some reason you grow or you decide not to want to do that? You've not built anything which can support whatever projects you're running. You've got to look at your existing business as a sub company under your personal brand, and then everything falls under that. You'll never drop your personal. Got to think of the personal brand as like the long-term play to build an asset of an audience that will invest in, like, things, you know, moving forward that fall under like how you're evolving and growing as a person, you know. So
Mm-hmm.
I can't say what business idea. I'm a creator, so I can't say what business ideas or whatever I'm going to have in like 10 years time, and what I'm going to be doing, because I'm always changing. Like we're evolving as human beings. It would be crazy to think that like everything's going to be static. And so you gotta, like, your personal brand should be about bringing people up to date around your journey up until now, and then having people come along the journey with you of where you're going.
Give me more on that. That's powerful right there.
Yeah, so just like, if you go to my first episode, I want everyone to go to the first, just to like to see what I'm doing, which is go to simonlovell.com, find the first episode, listen on iTunes, obviously give me a 5-star review and hit subscribe, side note.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But listen to the first episode, because it's about sharing my story in depth, like warts and all, like raw, and so that's bringing people up to date. So that first episode is me up until right now. And then as I move forward, it's like bringing people along the journey of what I'm doing, what I'm investing in, like how I'm growing, my breakthroughs. The other day I was crying in bed and had this massive emotional day. You might have seen the post, and it was like, this is what's happening right now, So it's like people want to be on the journey with you,
Absolutely.
But you got to be vulnerable, and then you got to be willing to be open with that, and that's always something I've been happy to do. I don't care that, I've gone through the struggles, and I don't care about, and I'm not embarrassed about anything. Why? Because it's me. It's where I was at that point in my life, and the moment, and again, this comes down to worrying what people think, ultimately, but that's a whole nother topic.
Well, yeah, but that grounding is so amazing, though, because like what we were going back on earlier is that I would believe that a lot of people are most people inside of this profession, or a lot inside of this profession, if not across the board, if you go into other markets where they're using a certain face, right? And that's how they've been able to grow in a sense, right? But when you start to become vulnerable and you start to show yourself, right? You start to storytell and go deep inside of you. That's what people are drawn to. That's what people see, and that's how they are attracted to you.
Yeah, and the reason for that is that other people love to know that they're not going through the same thing alone. There's a lot of pain that we create in our lives when we're going through something, and we think that we're the only one going through it. That's the truth.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. When we're talking about like personal branding, what are the common myths when it comes to personal branding?
I would say that, I think that a lot of people really don't understand how consistency is important, and you've also got to be willing to like leverage everything. So you've got to start putting yourself in the local media, and like the big myth is that it's going to be easy, right? You've got to start like creating relationships, and you've got to start being ballsy, picking up the phone and asking people for things, and reviews, and as long as it comes from the right intent, then that's always the most important thing. But in terms of other myths, I think the myth that it doesn't make a difference. Like it don't, like I can just like I see so many fit pros like hiding behind their logo, right? And still today, not willing to get on a video, not willing to actually and do it, where they're just still scared, So you got to keep up to date. You got to be breaking again. Ultimately, this all comes back to mindset, and I think the biggest myths obviously come from that place. So yeah,
absolutely. What would you say, just in closing, like, what's one question that I should have asked that I didn't ask that you can address as far as through personal branding?
Give me an example. So can you elaborate more on the question?
Yeah, like as far as just like with the personal branding and what that looks like, I'm looking at it as more as like, when you were talking about the video, how in depth the video is there still, like, what types of videos would you do? How would that lineup look?
Right. So yeah. So here's a question that you should always ask before you do a video.
Mm-hmm.
Why is this going to matter to my audience? Why should they spend the time listening to this? And that's a great way to pre-frame the content of a video, right? So, you know, when you're going in or you're sending an email to push people out to a video, you're starting a video, it's like, hey guys, you know, today we're going to talk about vulnerability, you know, or today we're going to talk about fear. And here's why this is super important right now. Okay? Most of our life is driven, or not driven, so to speak, from this number one fear, that fear of failure. And the truth is, most people have it. But in this video today, I'm going to be talking to you about 3 simple ways that you can start to overcome fear and how this can impact your life. And if you do this, then what you'll notice is your relationships will change, your health will change, your finances will change. Okay? And what you want to do is start to create some curiosity so that people want to carry on watching. It's called an open loop. Okay? So,
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think it's important, like, and just like anyone watching this, it's like, why is this valuable to me? Like, why should I spend my time watching? Because there's so much more now that we can watch. There's so much more that we can observe. We have videos popping up everywhere. And so now we need to do a better job of letting people know why they should invest the time watching, even if it is 3 minutes, even if it is a short period of time, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I think, again, this is about small tweaks so that, you know, we can actually, you know, really get people to our story, because there's nothing more painful than having an amazing story, but you can't get people to it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Man, that's some good stuff. Where would, as far as for the gym owners, where would they go back to be able to learn more about what you're doing, learn more about, you know, fitpreneurs, and then your website as well?
Yeah, for now, I would definitely just go to simonlovell.com and check out the personal branding, because that's what we're talking about today. And then, of course, fitpreneurs.com and different pieces. But yeah, go to simonlovell.com, download the show, listen to a couple of episodes. The first one is super important to listen to, and you'll hear me share my story and how in depth I go and how I pre-frame it and how I talk about it. And so just by listening to that initial story is going to really help, you know, to be able to craft something for yourself.
Woo! Simon, man, I want to thank you so much for your time. I want to give you, you know, just a couple more minutes if you have anything as far as in closing when it comes to personal branding.
Yeah, I would say photo shoot is really, really important. You know, all of my platinum clients, I've told them, and, you know, you go and look at someone like Larissa Lee, who's one of my clients. She had a video go viral with over 1 million, I think 2.5 million views now on a peak video. You know, you look at her branding, you know, she got that photo shoot after my recommendation and she looks amazing. You know, you go check out Larissa Lee, Leigh. But yes, that's a great example of really good personal branding, you know? Yeah, you've got to get a really good photo shoot, and that's not a case of just picking like the one mate that you've got who's a photographer that you like, hey, can you do me a favor? You've got to look at portfolios, and you've got to look at, okay, who's got some boss videos that really reflect similar to me, a really good brand, and then how can I make them better, you know? And then you've got a good photographer is also a great, you know, technically like puts you in the right scenery and gets you to bring the, you know, the best out of you, you know, and gets you into the right state of mind and brings out your quirky side if you have one. So they should be doing a lot of pre-work before they even shoot you, because it's your essence, you know, you got to get your essence out. And again, if you're not willing to go there, you know, you got to, you know, well, if you've got a quirky side and a fun side, but you don't want to show that because it's like, well, what people are going to think I'm a blank, then you got some work to do on your mind, you know? Notice with my personal brand, it's like quirky and funny, because this is who I'm stepping into. This is who I want to be more. So here's a key golden nugget. Create the personal brand of the place that you know that you are, that you want to step into. Because if you do that, you're more likely to embody it when it's there.
Damn, dropping bombs, man. Dropping bombs. That's why I love, man, having your time, and I really appreciate you and appreciate what you're doing. And if you're a gym owner, you're watching this right now, and this is maybe sent to you either on an email or, here you're in the live right now or you're watching the replay, connect with Simon. Check him out. He's doing some huge things and he'll be able to help you as far as that breakthrough, getting you over the top, getting you past yourself, right? And getting you to where you want to go. So Simon, hey, I want to thank you so much, brother.
Yeah, you got it, guys. You're listening to this. You got to start developing a badass personal brand. Otherwise, you're going to be left behind. Trust me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thanks, brother. Hey, you have a great day.
Take it easy. Oh, one last thing. One
Yep.
last thing before we go. Golden
Yes,
Nugget. I know so many people that don't own their .com.
Oh. So they don't own it.
No, I mean, okay, so here's a story. We stay on for a little bit
Yep.
longer, share the story. So
Absolutely.
SimonLovell.com wasn't available. So I'm like, holy shit, I have the .co.uk, but I don't have the .com. And it was taken up by some person with like a blog. And of course, what we can do in that situation is go, oh, well, it's taken. And I'm like, I want it. So I emailed and I said, hey, would you be willing to sell this? And they sold it. So how much do you think I paid for it? And here's another question. Here's another question. What do you think I would have paid for it? And I'll tell you the number I would have paid for it. So I want two answers. The number one, the number that you think I would have paid for it, and the number I paid for it.
I would say 10 million. You paid for it, and then 100 million you would have paid for it.
Is that an actual guesstimate?
Yeah. I would say millions, right?
I'm not sure I would have paid millions for it. I'm not sure I would have. Honestly, I'm brutally honest. I'm sure I probably would have paid millions for it. I would have just got like Simon Lovell online or something.
Yep.
I paid $750 for it.
Wow.
So it's interesting you gave that answer because it's like you have something in your something of perceived like what it would have cost, right? And the truth is that I would have paid tens of thousands for it, but I paid $750.
Wow.
So here's the thing, guys. If you can, go and get your .com.
Absolutely. And get it in your name.
Whatever your name is, .com. I mean, that's the key.
Absolutely. Man, absolutely. Whew. Well, Simon, hey, man, I want to thank you once again. What do you got going on for the rest of this day?
I'm filming, and then I am going for some greens juice with a friend.
That's awesome, brother. That's awesome. All right, brother. Well, hey, you have a great day. Thank you so much.
Have a good one. Thanks for having me. Take it easy. Bye.
All righty. Yes, sir.
Bye.